but it'll be nice to look back once you hit day 60, day 90, and see that nice graph going straight downward as you've lost weight consistently over that time period. And we're back at the taste test table yet again, but we're not taste testing anything today. Instead, I'm going to talk about how MyFitnessPal has helped me lose 30 pounds over the last 3 months, put on a lot of weight over the holidays, trying to get a little more shredded for summer, down 30. I think I've gone from about 20 to 25% body fat, maybe a little higher. I'm probably hovering somewhere between 15 and 18% right now, trying to get down to 12. It's been a very steady weight loss process, and one of the biggest ways I've been able to do that is using MyFitnessPal in what I think is a pretty unique way. Perhaps you've tried it before, be curious to know. So as we go through, let me know in the comment section. And if you are getting any value out of today's video, please smash the like button. Helps me out a lot with the algorithm, and I'll do my best to respond to every single comment that's dropped in the comment section, no matter what you ask me, no matter what you say. I appreciate it, helps me out a lot. But let's get back into MyFitnessPal and how it's helped me incinerate fat over the last 3 months. And like I said, it wasn't a quick fix. I've probably lost about 1 to 2 pounds per week over the course of the last 3 months or so. Some weeks were more, some weeks were less, but it's sort of balanced out to now I'm probably losing about 1 to 1.5 pounds a week. Probably have another about 10-ish pounds to go. I don't know, we'll see. We're also strength training, so we're adding muscle, so we'll see what happens there. But I want to show you how I've used MyFitnessPal, the free version. You can get the paid version if you want, but I think the free version is really all that you need. We'll talk about some of the features of the paid version and how they might help you, but for the most part, if you download the free version, it's going to be plenty for you. So let's dive into how I've been using MyFitnessPal over the last 3 months to help me get to where I am right now, feeling great, losing weight, mostly fat, all fat maybe, definitely feels like it. Feels like I've had some muscle. But let's dive into the app. Okay, so let me hit our screen record here so I can put it up on the screen. You can sort of follow along with me on what I'm doing. So I already logged today. So today is already completely filled out. So we're gonna go to tomorrow, pretending like it's perhaps tonight or early in the morning, which is typically when I would fill out my entire day's worth of eating, all my meals. And what I do first is I account for what's typically the biggest variable in my day, which is dinner. So I eat dinner with my family, and that's something that does change every day. If it were just me, I would probably eat the same 1 or 2 meals every night during this fat loss phase just to keep it consistent. But because I know that's the variable, that's always the first thing I enter, and then I work my calories and macros around that. So I know tomorrow, because I've planned out the meals for the week, we're going to be having a crock pot pork tenderloin. And as you can see, it's in my history. We've had it before. So 249 calories for 6 ounces. That's probably what I'm going to have. So I'm going to hit the plus sign there. I've added that. And we're going to be having some white rice with that. So I'm going to put in white rice. And that's for half the bag. So I'll probably have about half the bag. We might make 2. So rice is a big favorite in my family. So we're going to probably make 2 bags. So I'll probably have about half of one of those, 180 calories worth. I'll end up measuring out whatever the grams might be. I have that in my notes as to what it would be, and it's a rough estimate when it's cooked, but it gives me a good general idea of I'm being pretty close to that 180 calories. We're gonna also have a vegetable with that. It's gonna be frozen carrots, and all these are coming up in my history. So if it wasn't in my history, if it's something I hadn't eaten before, I'd have to search for it to find it. And you can usually find any branded type of food is in MyFitnessPal. You can customize your own if you want to put something in that's maybe not in the search results, or if it's wrong, you can add it in there as well. I find that this has most everything. You just want to make sure that it's accurate when you're putting everything in terms of the macros. So some of them can be way off. Like if you try to track sushi with this app, you're gonna get all kinds of calories for different types of sushi rolls because there's too many variables. But for things that are packaged, or things like 93.7 ground beef, which we'll be adding in here shortly. Things like that where you can track it consistently. That's something that I think is pretty easy to do with this app, and you can search for it and find it, and it's not a big deal. If you get the paid version, you can use the barcode scanner, which does make it a little bit easier, but honestly, after you scan it once, like you've seen, it kind of shows up in your history every time you go to search for it. So unless you eat a lot of new things all the time, I don't think the barcode scanner is really worth it or necessary, because once you enter it once, it's right there once you start to search for it. So I don't think it's worth the $80, particularly to get the paid version. It does get rid of the ads. It does give you more of a macro breakdown per meal that's a little easier to read. But beyond that, there's no advantages. So let's get back to planning out the day. So if we go back here, we see meal 5, which will be my dinner, 464 calories. It gives you the calorie breakdown. Now, like I said, if you have the paid version at the top where it says meal 5, you'll see how much protein, how many carbs, how many fats are in that particular meal. But honestly, you can just turn your phone sideways, and I have no idea how that's going to show up on the screen for you guys. But if you look at it here, you can see across the way it does break it down. Now, it is kind of a pain because you can't see the headers. See, the headers are up here, and you can see the first column is calories, then carbs, fats, and protein. So if you memorize those 4 and come back down to meal 5, you can see there's 464 calories, which we already knew, 48 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fats, and 48 grams of protein in this particular meal. So let's go back, verticalize it. So that's dinner. So dinner is entered. We can see all the macros per meal, like I just showed you by turning the phone sideways. So if we go back to the top, so we know what I have left. So you can see up the top here, it says 464 for food, and I have 1,586 calories remaining for the day. So now I have my dinner. My one variable for the day has been entered. I'm pretty much going to eat the same thing every day like I have been doing on this plan, but let's go through the process anyway, and I can show you how to enter it in different ways. So for meal 1, I have been having egg whites. Spell it wrong, it doesn't show up, but there it is in my history. I hit the plus sign, it's added, and then I'm going to add in some fat-free cheese or protein squares, which should pop up as well. Add that, and then we're going to have some oatmeal. That's only 60. I'm going to have 2 servings. Just had to balance it out the other day. All right, we'll go back in here, and with that, we're going to have some sugar-free syrup to add some sweetness. If I can spell. No editing allowed or second takes, so we're just going to run through it. All right, and I'll also put my scoop of creatine on top of that now, and once you mixed it in, you don't taste it, but it's a great way to get your 5 grams or however much you want to have of creatine in, put it in the protein oatmeal. And what makes this protein oatmeal is, of course, going to be our protein powder. I've been having the PE Science Cake Pop. And then I like to add a fruit in there. Been really into the blueberries, so we'll do our blueberries. Our what happened? Oh, there we go. Our USDA blueberries, 50 grams. We're going to add those. And then we have breakfast. So breakfast is probably one of my heavier meals of the day. I like to get a lot of calories in to start my day. Typically I'm working out early in the morning, so that works out well for me. Usually pretty hungry right after the workout, and it's a great way to get a ton of protein in right away to kick off the day. And of course, getting those healthy carbs with the fiber, with the oatmeal, and it tastes delicious with that PE Science Cake Pop protein powder. And the blueberries just, make it a more nutritious meal, of course. So that's that one. So on to meal 2 is typically a snack for me. So I'm having this probably around 10 o'clock in the morning. And another way you can add it, if you know you're having a lot of the same snacks or the same meals, is a great way to just copy over from the previous day. So if you see these 3 dots in the lower right by meal 2, we click those and you can do a copy from date. You hit that and then you pick the date. So it's saying today because obviously I'm doing it for tomorrow. But say I wanted to have the same snack that I plan on having today, tomorrow, I hit that check mark and it puts it right in for me. So we can see I got the white chocolate cookies and cream and my 100 grams of blackberries, which I will be having tomorrow as well as today. And then nice and easy, quick, on to the next meal. Meal 3, the greatest hack of all time to hit your protein goal is egg whites. And because I am able to cook them at home, I've been doing double the egg whites, making that protein goal seamless. Don't want to have quite the same thing, so I will have the egg whites, the two protein squares, if you will, and then I'll also add in some kind of lean protein. So I like to do the 93.7 ground beef, 4 ounces of that. I know I'm American, I measure the ground beef in pretty much all animal protein in ounces. That's just the way I do it. So I'll add that, and then to really make it feel like I'm having a cheeseburger, I'm gonna put in some sugar-free ketchup. Don't want to put syrup in. Sugar-free ketchup, 2 tablespoons, only 20 calories. And look at that, we got about a 400 calorie meal, and it is loaded with protein. So filling. Doesn't feel like it every day. I'm like, oh, I just get to have an omelet. But by the time I finish this with the lean ground beef, it's so satiating, it's amazing. I'll flip it sideways here so we can take a look at the macros on that one. So you can see the 398 calories. This is just a protein bomb. 8 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fats, and that's 67 grams of protein. So this is definitely going to get that protein goal finished quicker by having this instead of, say, a sandwich with only like, I don't know, 4 ounces or 3 ounces of a lean protein or a wrap. This is great for me. It accelerates that protein number, kicks it up real quick, middle of the day, not gonna have any problem filling out the rest of the day and still hitting that 180 to 200 gram protein goal that I've had over the last 3 months. Let's take it back to the log here, and then meal 4, last one that we have to plan out for the day. So we know we got 262 calories. So typically I'll get to this point in the planning and then I'll want to see where I'm at for my macros. It could be that I need to fill out certain macros more than the others. Typically fats and carbs are the 2 that really need the tweaking here. I'm usually pretty much at my protein goal at this point. But if we dive into where it says the remaining calories, if you tap on that, you'll come to your macros breakdown and you see I have 164 grams of carbs, 32 fats, and already at my protein goal, 203 grams of protein. Now those fats are really low. You can see it's only 17% of my calories. So I want to definitely increase fats in some way. So let's dive back in. If we can stop the notifications. No editing allowed, I'm not gonna do a retake. So we're gonna go back in here, we're gonna add the food, and let's go with rice cakes, which are a lower carb, but still a carb nonetheless that's gonna be satiating, making me feel like I'm getting more than I actually am for the calories. So we add the rice cakes, and then we're gonna do peanut butter with those. We'll just go with the kids' peanut butter because I don't like to buy 2 jars of peanut butter for the amount that I have. I'm not gonna get the Teddy's no stir required or have to stir it or whatever. Just do the Skippy. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. Don't at me about the seed oils either. All right, let's go back to here. So we got, I didn't add the rice cakes. No editing allowed. Let's go back in, rice cakes, and we'll add 2 of those rice cakes. And I also want to have some sugar-free jelly in there. I feel like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so to speak. That in there, good. All right, so we got our Skippy peanut butter, our rice cakes, and that's gonna feel like I'm having that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I'm gonna lay out those rice cakes. I'm gonna put the peanut butter on first using the negative scale measuring system to get the exact amount, 32 grams. Then I'm gonna do the same thing for the sugar-free syrup. I'm gonna take that out, negative scale measuring system, and I'm gonna spread that over each rice cake equally, and that should fill out our fats for the day, get us to at least 20%, and as you can see it does. So I'm just under 200 grams of carbs. I have the 48 grams of fats, which is better at 22% of my overall calorie intake, and we're still at that protein goal. 212 grams is awesome. So love to see that over 200 grams. Go back in, you can see we filled out our day completely. My calorie goal here is 2,050. I try to keep it between 50 and 100 calories over or under at the most. And as you can see, we're only 8 calories over, so no problems there. So my day is completely planned out. What I'll do is I'll start my day. I'll go do my workout, and then it's following this as my meal plan for the day. I already know what I'm eating. There's nothing that I can eat that's not on here. If I follow this to a T, I know that I'm going to be successful in my day, hit all my macros, hit my calorie goal, and we're just on to the next day, planning it out again. I find it quite fun to plan out my meals, very much into food, so now I know what I can eat, know what I shouldn't eat, and we're locked and loaded, ready to go. So aside from just using the app, which is a great way to plan out your meals, I recommend that you take an initial calorie amount. If you're just starting this fat loss journey, go lower than you think you need to do. I call it reverse dieting from the start. I think it makes the most sense. You can get some really quick results by doing it that way. Now, is it sustainable? No. But when I started back in January, I actually started out with a 36-hour fast, believe it or not, and I don't do fasting anymore. Not a big proponent to do it every day, but it was a great jump start to sort of reset everything in my body, get rid of some of the inflammation, and just pretty much, hopefully, as best I could, start with a clean slate. From there, I went super low with my calories, 1,500 calories I did for the first 2 weeks, which after all the junk that I ate in the fourth quarter of last year, it was quite easy to do. You have so much food in your system and there's so many fat stores that going down that low for me wasn't a problem. I've also eaten low calories before, so I knew what to expect. So if it's something that's new for you, maybe you don't want to start that low, but I knew for sure that I was in a calorie deficit from what I was eating before, definitely. So I started super low with those 1,500 calories, and then I increased them after the second week. I went to 1,800, then I slowly went up week by week to 1,900, 1,950, and then here I am at 2,050, 2,050 calories is my goal. And I'm going to be increasing those soon due to something called energy flux, which I'm going to talk about in a different video. But my point here is get yourself into a deficit. You can do 2 weeks to try to figure out what your maintenance is and adjust up or down if you need to. I'd rather just go all in. And if you're losing too much weight at once, if it's more than 1 to 2 pounds, or I guess more than 1% of your current body weight, it's probably too low of a calorie count. So keep that in mind too. But for most people, you probably know how many calories that you can eat and lose weight. And if you find out that it's going too fast, it means you're not just losing fat. Initially, you're going to lose a lot all at once because you just have so much excess water and glycogen stores and food in your system that you need to clean all that out anyway. So you're going to see probably more in the beginning. I think my first month I lost like 10 or 13 pounds, somewhere around there, and I've been steadily losing like 7 or 8 pounds over the next 2 months. So it does balance out, but you can go super low and then increase it. And if you feel like it's not enough, just increase it right away. If you're starving during the day, then you need to eat more food. So try to go as long as you can with the lower calorie count, but if your energy's too low and you can't do your workouts, then definitely add 100, 200 calories if you need to onto what you're currently doing, and that should help balance it out. But I just like that as an approach because it gives you, 1, some early results, 2, helps you, it's kind of like a modified version of, well, it's a low-calorie diet, right? So you know that you're going to lose weight on a low-calorie diet, but you do want to make sure that you're increasing your calories pretty quickly from when you first start. If not, it's going to be a disaster. Your workouts aren't going to be fun. You're going to be losing weight in a not-so-healthy way. So keep in mind, start out low, but ramp up quick. That's what I've done over the course of this year, and it's helped me out a lot. The initial fast, low calories, ramp them up. Just gave me some early results. Can be motivating for a lot of folks to see those results right out of the gate too. And the next thing I'd say is that you definitely want to keep your protein high. Even on those 1,500 calories, I was still getting at least 160, 180 grams of protein. Really didn't want to risk losing any lean tissue that I did already have, and it was just more satiating to eat more protein. Really helps carry you through. So that's why whenever you're coming up with your calorie goal or your macro goal, base it around protein. Figure out 1 pound per gram of body weight. I know that's bro science, but it will definitely give you enough protein to where you're not going to risk losing any lean tissue. It's going to help you build some lean tissue, and it's also going to prevent you from getting too hungry. I would also highly recommend that you track beyond just the scale. Some weeks the scale didn't move for me at all. It stalled out, and then there'd be a 3-pound drop, just like that. So take other measurements along the way too. I highly recommend you get a tape measure, find your trouble spots, measure those, and track those every probably 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks, once a month, even better. But if you want to track your progress, especially initially, I'd say go every 2 weeks, go around the waist, go around the thighs, wherever your trouble spots are, where you're trying to lose weight, because the scale can be very deceiving. You could think you're not losing weight and you're just banging your head against the wall with dieting and working out, and doing this and doing that, but you're actually seeing results. Sometimes you just got to wait it out. I do weigh myself every day, but that's really just to get an average. I don't expect to lose weight every day. I've done that consistently, and over time I have seen the drop, which is helpful for me from a numbers perspective. I like to see that overall from a long period of time. First few weeks, first month, it's not going to matter much, but it'll be nice to look back once you hit day 60, day 90, and see that nice graph going straight downward as you've lost weight consistently over that time period. The key is to track the trends. You want to see the weight coming off on the scale, of course, but you also want to see the spots that are carrying that excess body fat to be going down as well. So don't just pick one marker, pick several markers. Look at your step count for the day. One of the things that's really helped me is I've been shooting for anywhere from 15,000 to 20,000 steps a day, always trying to go higher. Again, there's some energy flux strategy going on there, which I'll talk about in another video. But aiming for that extra movement during the day is going to help keep you in that calorie deficit, make it much easier to lose weight. The more food you can eat and still lose weight is going to be the best strategy you can possibly have. No one has ever starved themselves to their weight loss goal and been happy about it. And to be perfectly frank, 99% of the people will regain the weight doing it that way. So the more food you can eat, the better. Keep your activity up nice and high. Let me know what you think about this. What did you think of MyFitnessPal? Have you used it in the past? Has it been helpful for you? Is this anything new to you? What else have you done with the app? Let me know in the comment section. Curious to your thoughts. But it's getting to be about that time. I gotta get up out of here. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.